to Seattle Unity. Happy Halloween! Woo! I'm going to ask you to stand as you are able. And if you are in costume as yourself, wearing your daily drag, show it off today. Show it off to whoever is here. And there are going to be people who are late coming in the room, and also to the folks at home. If you're wearing a costume, get up and put it on. This is a perfect day to be in the middle of the series, The Alchemy of Transformation, and we're all shape shifters all the time, but especially today. We're going to sing a song about that. It's real easy. It goes like this. I give myself permission to be all I can be. I give myself permission to live passionate and free. I give myself permission to be all I can be. I give myself permission to live passionate and free. All right, that's really good. You have learned the song. It would also be good if your body learned the song too, because this is a Karen Drucker piece, and she wrote it specifically with this like rhythm in mind. It's back and forth. And today we have Jesse Whitford, our drummer, with us. Yay! And drums are movement. So I encourage you to use this moment to let your body move around and let your body do the thing that you consider passionate and free, insofar as it's safe for work. You know what I mean? 1, 2, 3, 4. I give myself, permission to be all I can be. I give myself permission to live passionate and free. I give myself permission to be all I can be. I give myself permission to live passionate and free. All right, we're going to do this next one for I Give My Friend, because as we're discovering, alchemy and transformation and the ability to transform isn't just about what I've decided. To a certain extent, I really want validation from outside me as well. So we're going to say I give my friend permission to be all they can be. So whatever kind of transformation you're going through, sometimes it's hard to do it if the world outside doesn't reflect that or validate it or use your proper pronouns or whatever it is. So let's use this moment to give a friend permission to be all they can be, to live passionate and free, and to change right before our very eyes. Here we go. I give my friend permission to be all they can be. I give my friend permission to live passionate and free. I give my friend permission to be all they can be. I give my friend permission to live passionate and free. Hey, Carolyn.
Yes, Erin?
Who would you give permission to in your life to be all they can be?
Ooh, my grandkids.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Give the grandkids permission. Give them the car keys. I don't know. Whatever it is they need.
Of course.
Let's sing I Give My Grandkids. And even if you don't have grandkids, I don't. Maybe someday I will. But let's imagine that you have future grandkids or some adoptive grandkids, or if you have a grand kitten. I don't know. Your cat had a cat. What's a grand kitten? I give my grandkids permission to be all they can. Here we go. I give my grandkids permission to be all they can be. I give my grandkids permission to live passionate and free. I give my grandkids permission to be all they can be. I give my grandkids permission to live passionate and free. All right, Colby. Hello, welcome, Colby. This is your first time singing backups. Hey, if you guys want to sing backups, you can be a first timer too. It's awesome, isn't it?
It is.
If you would give somebody permission to be all they could be, who would it be?
My clients.
Okay. I'm not asking what your clients do, but we're going to give them permission.
Absolutely.
All right. 1, 2, 3, 4. I give my clients permission to be all they can be. I give my clients permission to live passionate and free. I give my clients permission to be all they can be. I give my clients permission to live passionate and free. Hey, let's pray. Let's pray from here.
And so we take this moment to turn our attention within as we know the truth of our opening statement together. There is but one presence and one power in my life and in the universe, God the good, omnipotence.
From this quiet place, let's try, I give my thoughts permission to be all they can be. This requires a little bit of bravery. I give my thoughts permission to be all they can be. Here we go. I give my thoughts permission to be all they can be. I give my thoughts permission to live passionate and free. I give my thoughts permission to be all they can be. I give my thoughts permission. We're going to go to self. Passionate and free. I give myself permission to be all I can be. I give myself permission to live passionate and free. I give my thoughts permission to be all I can be. I give myself, last time, permission. Give it a wizard. Passionate and free. Nice, you. Have a seat.
Good morning and happy Halloween. I see we have a couple of priests in the house, a couple of witches, little kitty cats. So it's hard enough to recognize who we are with masks. Now I'm like, I have no idea who everybody is right now. Okay, so let's take a moment as we focus on our vision statement together. We are an accessible and inclusive spiritual sanctuary for all ages and stages of life. We offer spiritual practices and a community that honors diversity and encourages self-empowerment. We co-create a world that works for all. May it be so. So today we have a Zoom fellowship following, and I know those in the room, you're like, no, okay, so we're going to meet together in person and say hello. But for those of you who are watching online, we're having a Zoom fellowship service about 10 minutes after the service ends, so we hope to see you there. If you have a prayer request and you're at home, please type it into the chat box. If you are in the room, please fill out a prayer request over there. And so now let us all greet one another and watch the announcements.
We need to get everybody to sit down now, please. Can we get people to sit, please? I have a reading today. There we go, and everybody looks pretty well now. My reading today is called Calling to the Ancestors by Deanna, Quarry. We call to those who have gone before, ancient ones, loved ones, who have left this plane, spiritual helpers all. We are gathered here in sacred space to reach beyond the veil. We have reaped the harvest and stored them for the coming year. We face a time of cold and dark, of wind and sleet and snow. It is the end of warmth and growth. It is the time of death and quiet repose. This is the night to lift the veil, a time when you are near. Draw close to us within this space the message we would hear. They come to us from beyond the veil, from this place that is no place, from a time where there's no time. Form a link with love unite and share the present moment. Draw from the love you need and know of the promise of tomorrow. They will speak with us of times of old and future yet to come. As you face the coming dark and know the bitter cold, warmth will come once more with the turning of the wheel.
We're coming towards a meditative time in the service. I encourage you to set aside any distractions and prepare for our meditation today. We have Jesse Whitford, our returned drummer, giving us a sound meditation on the vibraphone, which is beautiful. And if you're in the room, I encourage you to, at some point, open up and just look at the ceiling while you're hearing some of this, because you can feel the vibrations working in the room. It's pretty incredible. To get there, we will chant in using a Sa Ta Na Ma chant. Very simple. This was shared to us by Sada Simran, who is a Sikh teacher who made his transition last year, but he's very much beloved still. Olivia will introduce it, and then we'll all join in. This is a song by 21 Pilots. I do not know why I would go in front of you and hide my soul, 'cause you're the only one who knows it. You're the only one who knows it. Still I hide behind my pride. Don't know why I thought I could lie. When there's a screen on my chest, there's a screen on my chest. I'm standing in front of you. I'm standing in front of you. And I'm trying to be so cool. Everything together, trying to be so cool. And I'm standing in front of you. I'm standing in front of you. I'm trying to be so cool. Everything together, trying to be so cool. Still I ask behind my mask, can we pretend we have no past? 'Cause you're the only one who knows it. You're the only one who knows it. And still I hide behind my pride. Don't know why I thought I could lie. When there's a screen chest, a big screen on my chest, and I'm standing in front of you. I'm standing in front of you, and I'm trying to look so cool. Everything together, trying to look so cool. I'm standing in front of you. I'm standing in front of you. I'm trying to look so cool. Everything together, trying to be so cool. We're broken, we're broken, we're broken, we're broken people. We're broken people. But wide open, wide open. We're broken, wide open people. Wide open people. Wide, wide, wide. Wide open, wide open. We're broken. We're broken people, broken open, wide, wide, oh, wide open, wide open. We're broken, wide open people, wide open people.
Thank you, Aaron. Let's hear it for the home team. So this is the extent of my costume. I have a wand. Actually, at home I have a lot of different wands, but this is from Harry Potter world. So anyway, so this month is the alchemy of transformation, which takes the lead of worn-out structures and situations in life and can turn them into the gold of a soul aligned with purpose. So obviously today's Halloween. Tomorrow is All Saints' Day, and it's also the Day of the Dead for today and a couple more days. And you may ask, what do these holidays have to do with transformation? Well, last week we talked about how the first step in a transformation is to let go, right? Look at the leaves. They're released, they're falling, the trees are releasing the leaves. So the first step in a transformation is to let go. The second is to accept things as they are and to see things clearly so that we can change. And that includes looking at the dark and the light, because we must be willing to face the darkness and know our own shadow if we are to transform. And there's people over there at the door, so just letting you know. So Halloween, Dia de Muertos, and All Saints' Day give us the opportunity to face the darkness and or fears in a fun and playful way, right? Because you can dress up as a witch, you can dress up as a priest, you can dress up and be whatever it is that you would like to be. So we can take that which scares us and wear it and be it. So through costumes on Halloween, you can transform yourself to anyone or anything you like. I love your legs. It's an opportunity to play with those parts of yourself that you may normally keep hidden. It's in another way, it is as if the underworld has come alive with vampires and ghosts and witches. So it gives us an opportunity to laugh and to play with, again, that which might normally scare us. So our celebration of Halloween has its roots in the Gaelic festival of Samhain. It means summer's end, which is kind of where we are. Truthfully, right now, Halloween and this Gaelic festival is the halfway point between the autumn equinox and the winter solstice. So we're right at that in-between point right now. And the ancients believed that it is a time when the veil between the two worlds was thin and that the dead and the supernatural beings could cross over from one dimension to the other. And it's interesting that this concept crosses different cultures, right? It's not just the northern hemisphere necessarily, but it's, we see it in different traditions. And one story is that the Celts had a bonfire on Halloween night outside, and it was to keep the dead from entering their house, because they believed that the dead would leave their graves because it's starting to get cold out and they want to be warm, and they didn't want them to come to their house where the fire was, so they put the bonfire outside to sort of attract them there. So unlike the Day of the Dead, which seems to welcome those who died, this seems to be the goal, is to keep them at bay and to keep them away. Another Halloween tradition that is carried over is the carving of the pumpkins or the jack-o'-lanterns. We have the trick-or-treating, which is something that they would do when they were looking for prayers. They would sell prayers in a sense. So anyway, here's the jack-o'-lantern story. So a man named Jack was the town trickster and probably the town drunkard. And he tricked Satan into climbing up a tree. And when Satan got up into the tree, Jack carved a cross on the tree trunk, which meant Satan couldn't come down. He couldn't pass the cross. So he trapped him up there. And he told the devil, he said, "Devil, if you never tempt me again, then I'll let you down from the tree." And so he removed the cross. The devil agreed. He came down. The problem is that when Jack died, he was denied access to heaven because of his wayward ways, but he was also denied access to hell because he had tricked the devil. So the devil gave him a single ember to light his way through the darkness. And the ember was placed inside a hollowed-out turnip because it lasted longer that way. Now, when the Irish moved to the United States, they found that pumpkins worked much better than turnips. And so we now have jack-o'-lanterns, or our carving of the pumpkins. So we have this image of lighting our way through the darkness, right? So Halloween is an opportunity to lean into the mystical side of life and to contemplate death in a playful way. Because truthfully, we live in a culture that has lost many of its traditions around and rituals around death. We no longer care for our dead like we did, over 100 years ago. In some of the old houses in Chicago, in the living room, there's like this alcove that's there. And it was there for the casket when you died. And it seems very creepy to us now. It's like, really? Yuck. But it was a part of life. When you died, it was embraced by the family and the neighborhood. And we've sort of lost that. We've opted out for memorials as opposed to funerals where the body's not present. And death is something that we seem to have farmed out to other organizations, so it's no longer incorporated into our lives. And so in a sense, we're sort of detached from it. But the truth is that death is the ultimate transformation, isn't it? It's the ultimate transformation that every single one of us is going to experience. I think one of the most astounding things about being with a dead body is how obvious it is that they are no longer in there. So how many have been with someone when they crossed over and have seen that spirit just sort of leave, yeah, or the soul? And how many have sat with a dead body and they don't look like themselves, do they? I know when I was sitting with my mother didn't look anything like my mother because she wasn't animated. But it brought down the truth that was so clear is she's not in there. She's not in there. They're not in there. This is just a shell, and they set it down and moved on. But it's a question that can lead to transformation, because the question is, where do we go after we die? And this is a question that each one of us needs to answer for ourselves. So we can hear what unity says, what the Catholic Church says, what Buddhists say, but bottom line, every single one of us needs to look at that question for ourselves and answer it. Because what do you believe? What gives you hope about the other side? And where do you go when you drop this body? Where do you go? One of my favorite movies, a line from a movie, it's an old one called Here Comes Mr. Jordan. And this one character is dying, Joe is dying. And Mr. Jordan is the angel, and he says, Joe, don't fight it. Joe, just drop the body. Just take it off like you're taking off an old overcoat, and just set it down. In Unity, we believe that life never ends, that we go on in the light, in spirit, in energy, in form. And many people in Unity, when I was in ministerial school, I think all but 2 people in our class believed in reincarnation. But it isn't a doctrine of Unity. And it's one of the things I like about Unity is you can look at, and you're encouraged to explore these questions on your own and find that answer. But Charles Fillmore, our co-founder, he believed in reincarnation, and he believed that he was the reincarnation of St. Paul. So isn't it great how when you think about reincarnation, you're always somebody famous, you know? You're never like the guy down the store that runs the Apple stand or something, you know? So when my cousin died when I was in my early 20s, I became obsessed with this question. It was all I could think about, and it catapulted me into studying everything that I could get my hands on about life after death, from all different religions, all different philosophies. I could not stop asking the question, where did he go? And it's what led me into the ministry. So how you feel about death can affect how you live your life. Is it a continuation of something wonderful and something expansive, or is there nothing? Right? So it affects how we live our lives right now. I know many of you remember Richard Levy, who was here for many years. And we were having a conversation one time, and he said to me, what would be your favorite way to die? And I thought, well, that's kind of a weird question. I'm like, I don't know. I don't know. What about you? And he goes, I want to die in a plane crash. I'm like, why in the world would you want to die in a plane crash? That's like the last place I would want to be. And he said, because I would know it was coming. And that's his attitude about death. That was his attitude, is I would know it's coming, and I can't wait to push over to the other side and to see what it is. And he held that attitude as he was dying toward the end of his life. So because it is said that the veil is thin between the 2 worlds during this time, I think it gives us an opportunity to lean into the mystical side of life, right? Yes, it gives us an opportunity to play and to have fun with it, but I think it gives us an opportunity to listen to our intuition and our dreams, and to be open to the unexplained and the development of the sixth sense. And I know that that's a very popular movie where he sees dead people, but you know, the Spiritual Science Research Foundation said that the sixth sense, or subtle perception ability, is our ability to perceive the subtle dimension of the unseen world of angels, ghosts, and heaven. And we don't really make a lot of room for that in our Western world, do we? But I think that the alchemy of transformation invites us to embrace all of this, the light and the darkness. So I would like for us to have a meditation and to kind of sit with these ideas. And since we're developing the sixth sense and we're in this intuition and this transformation darkness place, I invite you to prepare yourself, and let's just we're going to spend about 5 minutes at least in a meditation. So however it is that you become comfortable with that. So you are standing at the midpoint between the equinox and the solstice. And so I invite you to just imagine that you are standing in that point, that in-between place. And just as you are standing in this in-between place of time, imagine that you are sitting at this midpoint between two worlds. For the veil is thin. And we are open to normally unseen images. And so being in silence, what images arise when you contemplate being in this midpoint? And just let them come. And imagine with me, if you will, that you are walking through a dark cave. And in your hands is a lantern to light your way. Perhaps it's a jack-o'-lantern. And as you walk through this dark cave, the only thing that is illuminated is the steps that are in front of you. And yet you are not afraid. You are safe. So I invite you just to walk in your mind with this lantern to guide your way. Knowing that you are safe and healed in this space. And I invite you to take a deep breath and smell this cave. And maybe reach out your hand and touch the wall. And as you walk, to feel the ground under your feet. And you may feel the temperature. So because the veil is thin, you can see into the other world. As you use your intuition, as you use your sixth sense. And you can hear footsteps. There is someone approaching you. And as you hold out your light, you recognize that it is one of your loved ones who has passed on. And as they come closer, you can see them more clearly as you hold up your light and look into their face. And so using this sixth sense, be present and listen and feel their presence. Perhaps they have something to say, but invite them in. Maybe there's more than one. And if you feel so moved to reach out your hand and touch this person. And know that whatever you see or don't see is perfect. And so I invite you to bow to your loved one, to, in your mind's eye, bow to this experience. And as you turn and walk away, you know that you can return to this place and that your loved ones are never far away. And so we walk now through the cave and we walk back into the light. walk back into your life, having touched a deep place within you. I am open to the power of transformation. I invite you to say that with me. I am open to the power of transformation. And one more time. I am open to the power of transformation. And we know that the Spirit of goodness is in charge. That we surrender and give this moment to our higher self that is calling us, that is leading us to the transformation of the soul. And it is for this awareness. And in the name and through the power of the living Spirit of truth that we do say, thank you and amen.
I know dark clouds will gather around me. I know my ways are rough and steep. The golden fields rise before me, yes, and weary eyes no more will we.
All right, so we come to that time in our service where we share our tithes and our love offerings. And so, however you give, know that we are truly grateful. There is a number on the screen for text to give that I just punched in and donated. So, however we give, I invite us to hold our gift in our minds and our hearts and our hands. I give willingly, joyfully, and lovingly, knowing that God is the constant source of my supply. I give with graciousness and receive with gratitude. And so we dedicate and consecrate these gifts to the will, the work, and the way of the living Spirit of truth. And may each gift return to the giver a millionfold as we are in the flow. Amen. Okay, so now we have a number of people that we would like to bless and pray for. So I invite you to move to your heart space or the top of your head, whichever works for you, as we bless Belinda and family. We hold in the highest light Ronnie and Alan, Marcia. And we see that Spirit of God going before Mary, that her life is in divine order, that her body is in divine order, that every cell is filled with healing energy. We know this truth for Sam and for Christine, for Catherine and Arlene. We hold the highest and best for Charlene and Karina, for Louise and Sherry, for Mike, for Glenda and Sabrina. We take a deep breath, making sure that we're still in this space as we hold Lynn and Samantha and Mackie and Hudson. Let us embrace them in our hearts, again, knowing that that Spirit of God goes before them. We bless Carrie and Judy, Gus and Nola. We hold in our hearts Mike and Alan, Bill and Brooke. And we see divine will working through the lives of Rick, of Dory, of Rich, and Madeline. And if there's anyone else who comes to mind, please speak their names now. For may all beings be free from danger. May all beings have mental happiness. May all beings have physical happiness, and may all beings have ease of well-being. For the light of God surrounds us. I am light. The love of God enfolds us. I am love. The power of God protects us. I am power. The presence of God watches over us. I am presence. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well.
And that's the truth. We have transformed. I invite you to stand as you are able. We're going to sing a closing song together. Oh no. You know, I'll do what I can. Maybe I should make it a unibrow. I don't know. So many faces of God. It's a really easy one, but it's an invitation for you as you look around at each one of the faces you see today, and they are new faces, that you see those as a face of God as well. Because Dana the kitty is making me so happy, and the butterfly and the plague doctor. I hope, Phil, did you get some shots of some of these costumes? Because they're awesome. We've got several plague doctors, which is good. You know, it's apropos. And then we've got sequins over here, a Father Guido Sarducci. We've got a fawn, and you did your Charlie Chaplin, which took me a while because I thought you were Sally Bowles at first, but she doesn't have a mustache. So I want you to acknowledge all of the costumes and all of the work. And the professor, is this Professor Gadget? Did you have things going on? Is there just detective? It's Clouseau. Oh, okay. All right, that's it. Not your dog. I know that. All right. So we're going to sing So Many Faces of God, and I encourage you to acknowledge each other's devil horns and angel and everything. Here we go. So many faces.